Listen.
This morning, I visited the vaccination center here at the Palais des Congrès, and I can tell you that it's really great to see that there are more and more people being vaccinated. And we can imagine they're smiling behind their mask. Every time a parent or a grandparent calls a family member to say that they've been vaccinated, that is one more family that is relieved. In Quebec, more than 700,000 vaccines have been administered up till now.
3 million vaccines have been administered so far, and that number will keep going up. From March 22nd to May 10th, Canada will receive at least 1 million doses a week from Pfizer alone. Whether it's here in Montreal or in hospitals, clinics, and pharmacies across the country, I want to thank each and every healthcare worker who's part of this effort. We're now in the ramp-up phase of this vaccination, and with your help, more Canadians are protected every day. Of course, ramping up efforts to keep people safe and communities healthy doesn't stop with vaccines, and that's what we're here to talk about today.
A little more than a year ago, I visited the Lion Electric plant in Saint-Jérôme with Mark and a number of his employees. As I said that day, it's an important priority for us to support the manufacturing sector strategically with projects that will allow us to expedite the electrification of transit systems. Now more than ever, we have to look to the future and continue to position Canada as a leader in energy and clean transit. It's important so that our children and their children can live in a clean environment. And it's important for our workers to have good, well-paid jobs here in Quebec and right across Canada. Today, we are therefore taking another step in the right direction. Through the Net Zero Accelerator Fund, the federal government will be investing almost $50 million in a new project to establish a battery assembly plant for zero-emission vehicles at Lyons, here in Saint-Jérôme. Thanks to that plant, Lion will become the first manufacturer of medium and heavy vehicles in Canada to produce its own batteries.
To build their vehicles are sourced from almost 300 Canadian suppliers. So not only will today's investment help create directly more than 285 good jobs over the next few years, it will also support the entire Canadian supply chain. And that means even more good jobs right across the country. As cities, governments, and businesses move more and more to electric vehicles, demand is growing and is growing fast. We're here to support that clean transition. Earlier this month, we announced funding to electrify transit systems, funding that will help us deliver on our commitment to put 5,000 zero-emission buses on Canadian roads in the next 5 years.
With projects such as this, and by continuing to work together towards the same end, we will exceed our 2030 targets and reach net zero emissions by 2050. When we talk about an economic recovery that's good for workers, for families, and for the environment, this is exactly the kind of project we mean. Before closing, I would again like to thank Minister Champagne for his extraordinary work, and of course I'd like to thank the Government of Quebec as well as Lion Electric. Mark, you have built a flagship Quebec company, and today we can tell you that the entire country is behind you, your employees, and you yourself. By placing innovation at the heart of our recovery, we will rebuild a cleaner and more prosperous economy for everyone. Thank you, and I'm very pleased now to turn it over to Premier Legault. Thank you. François. Good morning, everyone. And first of all, I want to convey my greetings to the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. I'm also happy to see we had a great meeting earlier and talked about a number of subjects. It was a very, very positive meeting, so I'm very pleased about that. And it's a lot easier in person than over the phone. I also want to thank the Minister for Economy, for Innovation, Science and Industry for being here, as well as the Quebec Minister for Economy and Innovation, Pierre Fitzgibbon, for being with us, as well as Louis Chassin, who's the member for Saint-Jérôme, and of course, the president and founder of Lyon, Marc Bédard. I'm very, very happy today to be making an economic announcement. It's not that I don't like Dr. Arruda or the pandemic, but I feel it's great to be able to talk about something other than the pandemic, and particularly to be able to talk about the economy. And the fact is, we're making a great announcement today. It's a great partnership. We're talking about an investment of $180 million, 85 from Lyon, 50 from the federal government, and 50 million from the Quebec government. So this is a great partnership, and I'm very pleased that it's happening. It's working well between Pierre and François Philippe. And this is for a battery pack assembly plant, and that will create in Saint-Jérôme 135 new jobs, and that will also make it possible to consolidate the 465 jobs that are already there at Lion Electric in Saint-Jérôme. And of course, I want to commend Marc Bédard for his vision. Marc was among the first persons to get into electric vehicles and manufacture them. But when he started his company in 2008, I think, yes, 2008, he had a real vision. He took a risk at the time, and he is someone that has the same ambition as myself. When you believe in something, you can do anything you want. And there are many commonalities between him and myself. And when I visited his plant in Saint-Jérôme, I noted his passion, not only for his operations, but also for numbers. Because like Pierre and myself, he is an accountant. He was with Price Waterhouse. I was with Ernst & Young, EY. But, hey, I won't talk about the differences between the different accounting firms or say which one is better. But one thing is for sure, he has a great deal of ambition. And I remember full well when we were together the last time, Mark, I talked at the time, I was in the opposition then, I talked about the reason why I got into politics. Because there's no reason for Quebec to be not as wealthy as the rest of Canada, particularly when you look at our GDP. Obviously, Quebec is not as rich as Ontario. Quebec is not as rich as the rest of Canada, and yet we have great universities. We have entrepreneurs here who are creative, and I think that there's really an opportunity now to change things. There are a lot of negative aspects to the pandemic, but maybe there are some positive aspects as well, in the sense that changes have come more quickly because of the pandemic. And I'd also say that we have an opportunity now in Quebec to build a new economy. First of all, a green economy. And we have we're lucky to be real champions when it comes to our electricity supply. So it is really in our interest to move from oil to electricity, and that's exactly what we're doing with trucks and buses through these electric vehicles. And we also have a lot of businesses in artificial intelligence here, so a lot of innovation going on in Quebec. And that's one of the places in the world where it's happening more than anywhere. And I believe that Quebecers are used to buying Quebec goods, so everything that we can manufacture in Quebec, well, obviously, it will make it much easier then to find buyers in Quebec. On the other hand, Lion is not only going to be manufacturing vehicles for Quebec. This year, they are planning to produce 650 electric vehicles, buses, and trucks for major companies like Amazon and Canadian National. And Mark projects that by 2023, it will be manufacturing 2,500 of such vehicles a year. And that company will move up to 1,300 employees. So if you like finance and economics, you'll know that Lion will soon be quoted on the exchange. But as a Quebec company, I'm very proud of the fact that it's a priority for Mark. And today, the idea is really to introduce a battery assembly plant. So, of course, this is an important component of these electric vehicles, and that plant will make it possible to better control the quality and the cost of the batteries. So that means that Lion will remain very competitive compared to its competitors around the world, and we know that this is a sector that is growing, and there are more and more businesses around the world that need electric vehicles. There are more and more cities in the world that want electric buses. So this is a huge market that will now be available for this great Quebec company. Pierre will have something to say about this later, but we're also introducing a chain from lithium to strategic minerals to batteries and all the way down to electric vehicles. So we're going to be able to do all of that here in Quebec. And I'll just close in saying that I want to call on all entrepreneurs now to say to themselves, listen, we have changed the way Investissement Québec operates. We now have a tool that can respond positively and quickly to your needs. And it's ready to take risks. And we were talking about this in the media this morning, but forgivable loans are a real win-win solution. So we loan money to companies, and if there are jobs being created over a certain period, like 3 to 5 years, through the additional revenues that we will receive at the Finance Ministry, we'll be able to give direct support and forgive part of that loan. So for a certain number of years, we want to really see those investments explode in Quebec so that we can eliminate that gap in wealth between Ontario and Quebec and, of course, the rest of Canada. So I'd just like to close in saying that in Quebec, we are building a new economy. This will create a more prosperous Quebec, a greener Quebec, and a prouder Quebec. So thank you very much. Congratulations, Mark. And once again, I'd like to introduce the Minister of Innovation, François-Philippe Champagne, who's been working very well.
And we have been listening there to the Premier of Quebec, François Legault, before him, the Prime Minister, of course, both in Montreal, Saint-Jérôme, rather, the Prime Minister speaking after touring a mass vaccination.